have to say, Kevin, I was surprised Sir Keir Starmer did this interview this morning and did it about the cost of living, which, as we know, is definitely people's number one issue.
Yep.
But I would have thought he would come out fighting for his Home Secretary's asylum plans and done an interview which was focused on that. He seems to have completely diverted attention in your paper, which is naturally the home of Labour voters, away from the big key message of the week.
Yeah, but he's in a very precarious position, particularly after last week's Downing Street acknowledging they feel under pressure, worry about a challenge. And then we saw that budget U-turn by the Chancellor, who was considering breaking the election manifesto promise on income tax rates and was going to put income tax up, cut national insurance, but put income tax up, then backtrack. And the mood has changed in Parliament. I spend too much time in Parliament, and Labour MPs now openly refer to when he has to go. And many of them believe now voters have made up their minds, fairly or unfairly, and are very negative to him, which is why he's saying, I'll fight the next election. One, this is not his choice. Two, it won't be his decision. But usually, Prime Ministers say this well into a second term after they've won 2 elections. This is after only 16 months.
Yeah. It's interesting you mention it's not the same, the message, the big message is the Home Secretary's tub-thumping, really important speech yesterday. He wasn't even in the Commons for the statement. He wasn't next to her. Why wasn't he there? He should have been, because then he's saying this is a real 5-star, we're firing on all pistons operation. Said he was doing something completely different. Never hear Keir in the wrong place. He should have been there. Kevin, he should.
I wonder whether, and let me ask you this question, because he talked to Dr. Amir, our own Dr. Amir, last week, said he doesn't like this divisive language on immigration.
What did he call it? Say about Island of Strangers. I
wonder whether he just wasn't comfortable with what the Home Secretary was saying.
I wonder if his heart is fully in it when he was a human rights lawyer, the Folkestone and Hythe MP. Labour now was also a human rights lawyer. They were both in the same Downing Street chambers as saying, look, this is, breaking international law, this is awful. And I think sometimes Prime Ministers have to do things they feel, they hold their nose and feel they're unpleasant, but they'll do it.
From what Andrew's saying, it doesn't even sound like he was holding his nose. I mean, he was in a completely different part
that he wasn't there.
Of the building or the country.
But he's veered.
I'd say that was the most important statement, apart from the budget, by a cabinet minister since this lot got into power. He wasn't there.
Well, he'll be there. He'll be there for the budget. So you're quite right. But the problem he has now is every time another cabinet minister does well. Last week it was Wes Streeting when he came out. He said, they're trying to kneecap me, I've got no campaign. But he looked and sounded really good as Health Secretary.
Did him a lot of favours.
Shabana Mahmood, you can like her, dislike her on this, and I've got serious concerns about a lot of it. But you've got to say that was an incredibly punchy performance by somebody you could imagine in number 10.
Yeah, I mean, you say you can like her or loathe her. We are in this slightly curious position this morning, Andrew, where your paper very much seems to like her, and the Express. And
so, I should have said the policies rather than her.
Well, her as well, though. I think the rhetoric that she's using does speak to the right. And I wonder whether, actually, some of the interventions from left-wing Labour MPs are quite helpful to her, because she can sort of define herself in opposition to those on the left and say, well, look, I disagree with you. I do care about immigration, and also don't lecture me on it, because I understand what it's like to feel racism, and we're going to go down this increasingly divisive path if we don't tackle it.
When did we ever hear a Home Secretary or any minister say at the dispatch box, I've been a victim of racism and I've been called I can't use the word, can I?
No.
But bleep.
Swear word and a racial slur.
In a racial slur. But I thought it was a very powerful moment. She was rebuked by the Deputy Speaker, of course, but it really resonated. She knows all about racism.
Let's have a listen.
And I wish I had the privilege of walking around this country and not seeing the division that the issue of migration and asylum system is creating across this country. Unlike him, unfortunately, I am the one that is regularly called a and told to go back home. It is I who knows through my personal experience and that of my constituents just how divisive the issue of asylum has become in our country.
Extraordinary language.
I've never heard anything like that. And from a Home Secretary, Diane Abbott may have referred to a black MP who's been subjected to terrible racism. She may have used similar language, but from one of the most senior members of the Cabinet to use that language. And I say well done to her.
I thought it was justified.
It informs the debate.
I thought it was justified and legitimate because too often we sanitise the abuse by not saying what it is she suffered, and it should come out of her mouth, not somebody describing what she's suffered. But of course, some people, some Labour MPs, and many Labour MPs got up and backed her. Some of them seem to be reading out helpful questions. When I was watching, I thought, you're reading this because you're looking down all the time, and I just wondered if it had been planted to be helpful.
Surely not.
But there are a number, and there are a small minority at the moment who have serious reservations. In round terms, Labour's got more than 400 MPs. Its majority is about 140.
Yeah, it's not big enough for
it's going to go through. This will go, yeah.
But electorally, the challenge is they've answered Reform voters yesterday, quite frankly, which is what this was aimed at, really, if we're being honest, and Conservative voters too. But are they going to alienate the increasing number of voters flooding to the Green Party?
Yeah, and some to the Liberal Democrats, possibly a few to Jeremy Corbyn's party, and that is the big risk for Labour. And on any issue, you can confront, concede, or change the conversation. Here, I think she's conceded. And she's gone on to Nigel Farage's territory, which is also populated by the Tories at the moment. It's getting pretty crowded. I think a lot of those people would never vote Labour anyway. You want to win them back by having the argument that asylum and small boats is a very small proportion of migration into this country. Deal with the problem, but not in this way she is. You've got to wait 20 years. You could be thrown out the country after you've been here for 19 years. Your kids too. No support for asylum seekers. What, you're going to have them living on the streets? People will be complaining about that. Some of the other things about it speeding up the appeals system, I think, is quite right. You don't pull out the European Convention of Human Rights, but you can advise judges on how it should be interpreted in ways. That's fine, and I acknowledge there is a problem. But at the same time, you get a grip on it, and you also put it into some form of perspective, and you ask people to calm down a bit.
Kevin, people will not calm down about the small boats. It's becoming the totemic issue of our day.
Yes.
It's a sign that this government, like the last government, has lost complete control. And nothing she said yesterday, the Home Secretary, in my view, I mean, I support a lot of what she did say, but nothing I could see in there is a deterrent to stop these people continuing to cross the Channel illegally. Because we're still going to let them stay, we're still going to put them in hotels, we're still going to give them benefits. We should, when they arrive here, we should send them back.
No, she's not going to give them benefits.
Can I just included, and I wondered whether you might raise this, the Home Office is going to explore the use of return hubs, otherwise known as safe third countries, where failed asylum seekers can be sent instead of their home country.
Is he going to mention Rwanda now?
Well, I wondered when one of you was going to mention Rwanda.
I got you there before he did.
That sounds like Rwanda.
Does sound like Rwanda.
Yeah, she wouldn't be drawn on the detail of that, would she? She just wouldn't.
But it's exactly what the Tories were trying to do with Rwanda, which Labour voted against again and again and again.
And so Rishi Sunak called the general election before Rwanda had properly got underway.
If it ever would have.
So, but we don't know. But the Tories had claimed that the prospect of Rwanda had already had an impact.
There was a flight scheduled to go in that July. We had the early election in July. The plane never took off because they cancelled it on day 2.
And they claimed that it was acting as a deterrent. Well, so has the Home Office now conceded that actually having a safe third country who we do a deal with and we send people to when they failed, is that going to act as a deterrent?
Deportations are a bigger deterrent, which she can point as at 34,000 now. Because remember, Rwanda was for 300 people a year.
To start with.
A week. No, I think that was the maximum capacity from the.
But once you've got the system underway,
you had the 4 volunteers. Of course, it was ruled unlawful by the UK Supreme Court. But anyway, it was 300 a year.
But the Home Office hasn't ruled out of that. I mean, it's not me saying this.
No,
the Home Office. Explore the use of return hubs, otherwise known as safe third countries.
I suppose the difference is these return hubs they're looking at now are in Balkan countries and other places in the world where there aren't necessarily, we hope, human rights abuses. But with Rwanda, Andrew, it was never going to work Because, as Kevin pointed out, the courts here said you can't just send people to countries where their rights aren't assured. So Rwanda was never a good idea. I don't know why the Conservatives didn't pick a country that was far more realistic.
Yeah, well, exactly. But Ascension Island in the Atlantic?
I think the truth is most countries, if you're a democracy, do not want to be running a camp for another country. Rwanda is not a prosperous country, so it was very happily taking 750 million.
Doesn't Italy have this kind of deal?
Yeah, with Albania.
But nobody's gone.
It's been blocked by the courts.
Nobody's gone. Of course,
Albania,
the courts,
over everything the Home Secretary said yesterday, the courts are looming over all of it.
And if
human rights lawyers and the European Court of Human Rights looming over all of this because they can probably put a stop to all of it.
Starmer has toyed with this himself, and then he went to Albania, appeared next to the Albanian Prime Minister, who is a Blairite, and who said, no, we're not having...
Yeah, we don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
nothing's agreed.
You don't want to be considered a dumping ground.
The Sun, meanwhile, says illegal migrants awaiting deportation get free maths tutors and better GP doctor access than Brits.
This is what really infuriates people.
The Home Office and the NHS are hiring a £139,000 a year lead doctor and a £134,000 a year deputy to treat detainees across 2 sites. A Sun investigation has uncovered a raft of removal centre perks, along with dedicated on-call MPs.
GPs...
They won't have their own MP.
Prisoners get medical care.
Yes.
You lock people up in prisons.
And you don't want nasty disease spreading.
You're locking people up in detention
groups of people.
centres. Yeah, and if they break a leg, you just leave them.
Or
they got a disease.
Yeah, but are they going to get access to a GP before people who've lived here for donkeys years pay their taxes?
Do they need maths tutors and exercise classes?
No.
Yeah, you can argue you have prison gyms. And so you'll have people supervising the gyms. So I suspect that's along those lines. And equally in a prison, to stop people rioting and fighting each other, you keep them busy and you have tutors. Now, whether it's maths, I don't know.
I mean, I think one of the things, though, that definitely will upset people, Kevin, is the Home Secretary saying yesterday she's going to offer now up to £3,000 for people to leave the country if they agree to leave. I mean, we revealed on ITV News earlier this year that people were being offered up to £2,000 to take a flight, and that caused absolute outrage. And now she's upping it to £3,000. It's that sense that people are doing the wrong thing and being paid for it. People who do the right thing in our society are struggling with the cost of living. They don't get handouts.
And who stops them then coming back?
Because
when they've cashed the £3,000 and then they come back, like in the one in, one out, they kick them out and they come back.
Yeah, well, he's back again. That Iranian, and of course you can't deport to Iran because it's not a safe country, but the government has done a success there in its own terms if it's deporting somebody from Iran back to France. And yes, they came back, but they've gone again. That is a deterrent when people work it out. But I hadn't realised you got these payments until you did it. Of course, it's been going on for years, right into the last government.
It was under the Tories.
And the argument
and back
is...
into Tony Blair's
it sticks in your throat, but it's a lot cheaper to get somebody to go quietly than to try and get a pilot to take a disruptive passenger. Anyone's been on a flight with a disruptive passenger and it's got to divert knows airlines take safety seriously. So if you've got somebody kicking off, it's going to cost you a lot more.
Yeah.
But it does stick in the throat.
I just wonder whether any of the rhetoric makes you uncomfortable at all, Andrew. I mean, Tommy Robinson really liked what Shabana Mahmood had to say. Is that not a sign to all of us?
What an extraordinary ally to the Home Secretary. Just to say, responding to the reforms, Tommy Robinson said on X, the Overton window has been obliterated. Well done, patriots. Now, the Overton window... that's a phrase that many of us haven't heard before, but it means the acceptable topics that you can discuss in public life. So basically what he's saying is the Labour government has gone to the right quite significantly and shifted on immigration in a way that he supports.
She's using language I never thought I'd hear a Labour Home Secretary use, by saying that illegal migration is tearing the country apart. And I think it is tearing communities apart.
Do you want Tommy Robinson on your side?
That will disturb a lot of Labour.
She's using language I wish a Labour Home Secretary had never used. But no, you wouldn't want him on your side. Stephen Yaxley let him give him his own name. Probably the most successful, financially far-right extremist in British history, convicted thug, fraudster. much else. But she knocked it back in the House of Commons, because of course she'll be uncomfortable with that. But he said he'd deport me. That's what she said. But nevertheless, when you get praise from somebody like that, he's playing mischief himself. But there is also a truth that Labour has moved to the right on this, and it's gone on to the Farage ground. So
the main issue in the country, cost of living, budget coming up. So the Prime Minister does this interview with The Mirror and basically says it's all about... Labour values are all about fixing the cost of living crisis. A story that's emerged in The Telegraph today is that at least one London council is going to ask people to grit their own roads during this cold snap. Tax-paying residents, so people who've paid their council tax and might expect safe roads in this icy weather, are being given bags of gritting salt, shovels and high-vis vests in order to clear streets. Members of the public invited to volunteer as snow angels, winter buddies.
Snow angel?
Yes.
Nice bit of marketing, isn't it?
And this is as a yellow cold health alert for London is being issued. Labour-run Wandsworth Council says its fleet of gritting vehicles faces a mammoth task to cover the entire borough. Andrew, people are going to be wondering what do they... I mean, look at what's happening in Birmingham, where they haven't had their bins collected.
And now the agency workers brought in to do the job are going on strike as well. This has been going on since February.
The strike breakers are going to join the strikes.
What's going on with our councils? Is it because they don't have enough council tax income?
Well, they just haven't got any money. They've been cut to the bone. But the idea you've got to grit your own street...
I'm all for community action and clear the pavement outside your house, check on your neighbour, so on. But the idea of going in the middle of the road in a high-vis jacket...
Well, it's a bit dangerous,
We've already seen people like Rod Stewart fixing his potholes, so, I mean, this is an extension of it.
In my council area, they now give you a litter picker if you want to go out. You know, one of those sticks you can use to pick up the litter in a bag. And we did it, actually, just to keep our son busy one weekend with a few of his mates. They absolutely loved it. So, look, I am no community angel, right?
Does your family want to go up to Birmingham because they've got some litter that could be done?
Yeah, might draw the line at actually picking out bin bags and putting them in the back of the truck. But I do think, in some cases, maybe a bit of community spirit. I'm not sure about gritting roads, like you say, but dangerous.
I'd have thought it is
Picking up litter, actually, I don't think is necessarily the worst idea.
I haven't done it. Although when I go out walking now, there's something Bill Bryson, the author, said, if you go out walking, you're in a beauty spot in the lakes, which I love, and you see somebody who's dropped a crisp pack and you see that's terrible, and you walk past it.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
You'd pick it up and throw it away.
I do now. I do. And of course, it's the right thing, thing to do.
And remember, the Chancellor was live on this programme and others saying we all need to do our bit.
That's right.
So maybe that's what she means.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you a pair of marigolds and one of these litter pickers, a big black bag.
I'll lend you one.
It would actually be dangerous.
Well, that's why they're giving out high-vis jackets.
I mean,
and then all the things that council say we can't do, right?
Yes.
You know.
I want to draw your attention to a story that I was very distressed by in the Times yesterday, and I think, you know, any right-minded person would be. A pensioner who was injured in a car accident. He spent a week in hospital, and hospital staff did not tell his family. This is absolutely extraordinary, and it meant that he died alone without any of his family by his side. Now, his name is Peter, and his daughter, Emma Hayes, says she was robbed of valuable time with her father and that he, she says, was disregarded like he was nothing, because she claims it was like a form of age discrimination. He was 76 years old. He was involved in a car crash that happened back in May, 76 years old. He was taken to the emergency department of Hull Royal Infirmary. Then he was transferred to a hospital in Cottingham, but he died there after his condition suddenly deteriorated. His daughter said, "They didn't contact me. He died on his own, and that is never going to leave me." I mean, what an absolutely you just think there, but for the grace of God. You know, go any of us. If a relative is injured, suddenly goes downhill, and nobody tells you as a member of the family.
It's whose responsibility is it? It's funny because I always thought you were informed, and maybe people not usually are. Is it the police?
It was a duty.
Is it the police or the NHS? You find the next of kin to say.
Well, I'm sure the police were involved as well. If there was a road accident, so there's a failure of all the major services.
But that's awful.
Here.
But your heart goes out to her because she will think he died alone.
Yeah, poor old boy, all on his own.
Yes.
No one visiting him,
and
holding his hand.
She says that it wasn't unusual for him to go off on trips, and they'd seen that his car wasn't at the house. She said, they have my number. I used to get phone calls all the time from the hospital and doctors regarding his appointments. Now, Humber Health Partnership have formally apologised to her, admitting it had failed to get in touch with her. But they hadn't saved a name next to her number. A note telling nursing staff to try again the following day wasn't followed up. We are unable to specify why she wasn't called, as staff cannot recall. I mean, honestly, the thing is, these apologies after the event,
I know. Yeah.
they just fall on stony ground,
do you think
they?
it would have occurred to somebody, this chap, Peter, hasn't had a single visitor?
Oh, awful.
Has anyone contacted his family? I think that is terrible.
Yeah, unless you've dropped from the sky, you'll be on the NHS system.
Yeah,
exactly. They'll have your detail.
She was.
He had an ID.
Right.
You need to find out the next of kin, who the GP is.
Yeah.
Let's finish on an optimistic and upbeat note. A couple of weeks ago, we had lovely Jasmine in. She's 13 years old and she has a rare skin condition called epidermolysis bullosa, which is known as butterfly skin, faces daily pain. She goes to hospital a lot and she lost her lovely teddy, Tom the teddy. We tried to find it, we couldn't find it. So, on the programme, we surprised her with a new giant teddy bear. It was Ed's idea. Poor mum Anna thought, what am I going to do with that? Jasmine was thrilled to bits.
And then she took that bear to the Deborah charity fundraiser and raised a massive £20,000, which is amazing, isn't it? We spoke to Jasmine's mum, Anna, soon after. Here's what she had to say about it.
Sorry, Jasmine isn't able to join us today. She's been feeling pretty poorly since the middle of last week. The generosity and of the person who bought it, who chooses to remain anonymous, to give it back and to do that, but to give £20,000. But the bear has not left her bedroom since since we got it originally from Good Morning Britain.
Isn't that fantastic?
Lovely. Wow,
so nice.
Lovely.
So they bid £20,000 and Anna thought, brilliant.
Got rid of the bear.
It's off my
The biggest bear, I know. Because her face when she saw it, thought, yeah, Jasmine's thrilled. Not sure Mum is. Where's that flipping thing going to go? How did they get it home?
Well, what's lovely, we do have a picture, actually, of Jasmine and the bear.
Oh,
that.
So
Oh, she's thrilled.
Yeah, I think they've had to get Jasmine a bigger bed.
Yeah, she needs a double bed there. It's taking up more space than she is, bless her.
And actually, the donor staying anonymous as well. I love that.
Yeah.
Not saying, look at me, they've given £20,000. You just think.
And then given the bear back.
It's wonderful.
Nice.
Absolutely fantastic.
There are a lot of good people.
There are.
We
Most
talk about
people are
misery and all the awful things going on in the world, but there are a lot of good people.
Yeah, shame about you, Maguire.
Oh dear! I just knew you wouldn't be able to.
Not even 2
seconds. You couldn't even manage 2 seconds.
Not with you, mate.